Analytics and reporting. So I talked about how you could always track when documents are being brought into WebDocs, whether it be who's adding documents, who made a change to a document. That functionality is still in WebDocs, but we've added some enhanced features as far as being able to graphically show what's been going on inside of WebDocs, workflow history. Who's using what workflows and what workflows are being utilized more often than others. Well, and again, I know it's tough for you folks in the back to read, but here's my workflow processes that I have in my AP invoice project. Notice I had about 4 drop downs. Here's where it's saying, hey, Matt, everybody's using the simple workflow. So I know I need to maintain this workflow and keep it up to speed because it's being used, 90% of the time. It's telling me how many documents are being passed down each workflow per day, as well as just some averages as far as times per step. How long is the AP clerk taking to process that? How long is the sales manager taking to process that? So forth and so on. So I can accurately predict, how long it's taking each step to complete. And I apologize, I know these are a little scrunched and hard to read, but it's just, again, some more graphical information on some file activity, who's touching what document. This is actually displaying the system usage reports, what's going on with these documents. So if I were to hover over any one of these, and I can't because it's on a PowerPoint, I'll show you this real life, but it's going to break down each step as far as how many documents are being passed through the AP clerk, how many documents are actually being passed through the sales manager, stuff like that. So let me open up some of these reports and show you. Let me log in here. I'll log in as a guest in this case. And if I go to my reports icon here, notice I still have my audit reports. I can still run a report to see who's viewed a document, but I now have this option up here called dashboard. This is where we really get into that intelligent reporting. I wish I could make my screen a little bigger, but it tells me 62% of the documents that are entering my system are going down, in this case, the AP approval workflow. And that's roughly 3,600 documents a day. I've got a lot of invoices going down this AP approval workflow. I need to be able to maintain this. So if I hover over this, it's going to tell me average number of days to complete certain steps. In this case, phase 1, that approval step, it's taking an average of 4 days to complete that. The pay step, it's taking an average approval of no days to complete this. So it's getting paid right away, which is good. But I can see there's definitely some bottlenecks in my approving steps. My AP clerk and my sales manager and HR managers are taking on average 4 days to complete these invoices. And I can switch projects up here to see, in my HR applications project, my new hire process, what are some stats and figures to make sure that I'm hiring somebody on time. Now, I haven't ran any applications down this, but as I continue to get applications for employment, I can run these intuitive reports to say, hey, it's taken 12 days to even get Matt Johns interviewed for the first time. So I can run reports based on any project I have inside of WebDocs. So I'm going to go back to my AP invoices because this is something I use often, and we're running a lot of invoices down this project. Notice this is just one report seeing how many documents have went down my AP approval workflow. If I wanted to check to see, another workflow, how many documents are going down, and it tells me that. Now, this is just a one-phase workflow. This is that export to accounting system. 99.2% of the documents on this step are being exported successfully. So there's 27 documents now sitting on this ready to export step. Average number of days to complete this, 2. Now, this is probably a case where this organization, in this example, is manually exporting that. What most folks do is just have this running on a scheduled basis. So an average number of days is probably almost always 1 because they run it on a nightly basis. So that's just one of the kind of predictive analysis reports. Notice if I hit this drop-down menu up top, again, I know it's hard to see, but I've got a host of different types of intuitive reports I can run, whether it be predictive analysis or let's just do a performance comparison report. I can see my invoices. In this case, I'm looking at my invoices project per vendor per sum of the invoice total for the previous. So I can see as I hover over these per vendor how much I'm paying over the last quarter. Now notice down here I've got my log of my different vendors down here. And this, I know the screen resolution is a little small, so it's not fitting on the screen, but I can hover over any one of these steps to see how much I'm paying each vendor in a given quarter in this case. And then just some workflow benchmarks as far as how long it's taking, in this case, me to process the stuff down my AP approval process. You'll notice here it's taking an average of 1.52 days for everything to get through this process. So I don't want to dive a lot into these intuitive reports. It's very, for you on the phone and for you out there, focus on workflow, search, retrieve, and the e-forms. Reporting analytics is great. Managers want to see this stuff, but I don't want to confuse you by diving into a lot of this stuff. But as far as predicting and being able to report on trends inside of WebDocs, you now have that capability to do that. And we can always follow up with you at a later date to actually dive into your processes to see what makes sense for you as far as doing any of these predictive analysis reports.
That was great. So what do you think? You see some stuff in there that was interesting to you?